I just feel like God. I'm where God wanted me to be. Honestly, I had a great relationship with Derek Mason that goes back to my days when I was coaching with the Tennessee Titans when he was at the University of Vanderbilt as a head coach, and it was a job that I was interested in before they hired Tracy Rocker, who's a good friend of mine who I respect a lot. And I had some other opportunities to go back to the NFL, and I really wanted this job. I prayed about it, and he gave the job to Tracy, and initially, which is totally understandable. He's a former player. Is in the Auburn Hall of Fame, and he's done a lot of great things. Great person, great dude, and has a lot of history here. And so my attention turned back towards the league. And then when the job came available, man, it was God sent for me. And I had a great interview with Coach Harsin, Zoom. We talked for about an hour and a half, just talking about our philosophies, our families, just trying to see if I was a good fit for the staff. And I had an opportunity. They offered me a job the next day, and it was just God sent for me. And so I'm just excited to be here. I feel like this is where God wants me to be. I'm closer to home than I've ever been. I'm from Lyons, Georgia, so it's only about 3 hours away. And me and my family are very excited to have an opportunity to be an Auburn Tiger and be here. And I'm just overjoyed, to be honest. And I'm excited.
Next question is Mark Murphy.
Yes, Mark Murphy from Inside the Auburn Tigers and 24/7 Sports. Coach, I want to ask you about setting the tone for a defense and how important it is for your guys in your room to be the guys who do that physically and setting the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, all great defenses always have great defensive lines. We have a lot of good players in the room, from top to bottom, and it always starts up front. Teams that win national championships, win SEC championships, they have great defensive lines, and I'm honored and excited for the opportunity to lead these guys, to be able to be dominant, and that's our goal. To dominate the line of scrimmage and be the best. I talk to my guys about being the best in the world, all right? Being the best at everything that we do, and that's the standard. Just being tough, being relentless, being disciplined, being committed, and being dependable. I talk to my guys about it every single day when they step in the meeting room. That's our identity, and so it starts up front, and we're doing the things every day, an individual. And it talks about getting great knockback, playing with great leverage, being able to use your hands and leverage your gaps, and being able to get off blocks. And that's what it comes down to, just those general fundamentals. That's one of the things I learned with when I was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just learned from a great coach named of John Mitchell, who taught me a lot about being a defensive line coach. And it comes down to just doing the things every day. Humans are creatures of habit. It's not about having a bunch of drills, but you want to make sure that you're training your guys to do things they're going to do on every single play. All right, and that's get great knockback and play with your hands and feet and your eyes. It's still old school defense. That's all it comes down to. So that's one of the things that I brought here to Auburn. Humans are creatures of habit, and we're gonna get in the habit of dominating the line of scrimmage. And it's a mentality that you got to have. And so I'm just excited for the challenge.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next is Bill Cameron.
Hey, Coach Bill Cameron with the Drive on ESPN 106.7 here in town. As you said, you've got a lot of guys up front. Who are some of the ones that have started to step up? I realize, it's you're still determined in the pecking order and everything, but who are some of the guys that have caught your eye early on?
They've all done a lot of great things. I've kind of been, playing musical chairs up front. I don't want guys to think that they've arrived. None of us have arrived. We got a long ways to go, but they're working and trending in the right direction. So I've been moving guys, with our first and second and third groups, shuffling them around, see how they handle a little bit of competition. Just creating competition, make sure guys understand that they got to earn the right to run out there on that field when it comes to Saturdays. And every play, who's ever out there for that play is a starter. But Kobe Wooden, Tyrone Truesdale, Marquise Burks, they've been kind of guys been taking the grunt work with the ones, and then We got Dre Butler, then Jeremiah Wright was doing very well. We lost him unfortunately, to an injury, who was a young player that was coming along, who had moved from the offensive line last year and really only been playing defensive line for about 3 or 4 months. He was really coming along before his injury, doing very well. So that was a huge loss for us to lose him. And then Zakevious Walker's been doing a great job. He's a guy that, that's going to come in and I think play at a very high level next year. He has a lot of great size and great length. He's going to do well. And then Daniel Foster Allen, we just recently, he just dealt with some injuries as well as Jay Harden. They've all been doing very well. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here, is try to get the best out of all of them and make sure they're improving every day. We have a long ways to go, by all means necessary, but they're getting better every day. And so, each day a different guy has been, flashing, doing some great things, but the goal is to get all of them flashing every day. And that's the direction that we're headed in. So I'm really proud of the guys and the work they've put in, and they're trending in the right direction. And so I think that they're all sticking out to me in some form of fashion, and just got to continue to be consistent, each and every day.
Next is Gianna Hahn.
Hi, Gianna Hahn from AL.com. I was just wondering, what has the transition from NFL to college been like, if there are any big differences?
Oh, that's, I guess I spent the last 18 years in the NFL as a, player and then as a coach. And, it's the transition for me has been easy. I think the biggest thing is just the recruiting piece of it. Normally in the offseason in the NFL, you're just sitting around watching, collegiate film, and, you're just kind of getting ready for the Senior Bowl, and you're getting ready for the Combine and just doing reports sitting in your office. In this world, you have an opportunity to get out and recruit and talk to high school coaches and, these kids and their parents. And, I'm a people person, so I've embraced it. So it's kind of been easy, being from South Georgia. I grew up in a place where you can have a 2-hour conversation with just a random person you never seen in the grocery store from where I'm from. So me picking up the phone and, having a real connection with the players and the family and the coaches, that's easy for me. And, I embrace that, and I'm excited to have that opportunity to be able to recruit. I would say the recruiting thing is probably the biggest change for me that I actually love. And so I've embraced that, and just having the opportunity, man, to inspire kids. In the NFL, guys have millions of dollars. They have these money, these contracts. And so I get the opportunity to get a kid at 17, 18 years old, all right, and watch him develop as a man. And to me, that's more self-gratifying, for me. And I'm just excited to have an opportunity to coach in the collegiate ball. And I think the biggest question that I've heard in the past, is, can he recruit? And I said, absolutely. I've played in 2 Super Bowls. I've done a lot of things on the professional level. And one thing, man, is for me, it's just being real with players and being who I am, and just trying to be a great leader each and every day, being the best version of myself and challenging, young kids to be the best version of themselves. But it's been an easy transition for me. I love my job. I love coaching defensive line here at Auburn. I love the people that I work with. I come into work every day with a smile on my face, and I'm excited. It has its challenges every day, and I want to be challenged. Just making sure guys are doing what they're supposed to do on and off the field. But other than that, man, I am thankful and grateful to have this opportunity, to transition from the NFL to be here on the collegiate level. So I'm loving it.
Question from Justin Ferguson.
And then for your guys on the defensive line, what's been the biggest adjustment for them going from what the scheme they used to play here at Auburn to the new one under you and Coach Mason?
There's been, defensive line play is defensive line play. We have a lot of different schemes and things we'll bring to the table. Some of it will be very similar to what they've done in the past. There's a lot of carryover. I think that some of the terminology will be different. But you'll see some of the same kind of fronts and stunts and things they did last year, and then there'll be a lot of things that'll be different. But we'll have an attack type of mentality, really getting vertical penetration, getting great knockback, and and using the tools that we have up front. I think we have a best of both worlds. We have guys that are athletic that can move, and then we have some guys like your Tyrone Truesdales and Jeremiah Wright, who we just lost, but we'll get him back. But we have girth of guys that can sit in there and be stout at the point of attack. But from a schematics perspective, man, we'll show multiplicity fronts. Don't want to go into too many details, but there'll be some similarities, but there'll be a lot of things that'll be different. For my guys, some of the things they're adjusting to some of the drills and things that I've brought from a professional standpoint. And even for me, I'm not the know-it-all. Everybody's gotten a drill from somewhere. They don't want to admit it, but generally your drills you've taken from somebody. So for me, man, I've gathered a lot of information over the years through the coaches that I've had, as a pro, even on the collegiate level, and I've gotten some drills from some high school coaches as well. And I think that's part about being a great coach is continuing to learn. And I'm never going to feel like I know it all. I'm not one of those type of guys, and so I'm always have an ear to hear, so that I can become a better coach each and every day. But from a schematic standpoint, it's be multiplicity. You'll see some things you saw last year, and you'll see some things that'll be different. But the guys are excited. They've embraced it, and we're challenging them every day, and they're buying in, and so it's been good.
Let's go to Brian Matthews.
Hi, Coach. Really nice to see you for the first time.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday or Monday, Carnell mentioned Brian Harsin was demanding but not demeaning in his coaching style.
Yeah.
What is sort of your coaching style? Because I've been around a lot of D-line coaches, and they can vary, of course. How does it fit into Coach Harsin?
Oh man, speaking of Coach Harsin, man, that's another reason. Like I talked about it earlier about why I took this job. I mean, he's a great leader, and what he demands out of the players and the coaching staff. I mean, he holds everybody accountable, and I appreciate and I love that about him. And his message is very clear. And we have our staff meetings about what he wants, what he don't want, and that he knows his stuff. In terms of leadership, he knows how to bring the team together. He knows how to win. He's done that before, and so I'm loving it, here. And he's made me become a better coach in terms of, just developing me as a coach, being organized, being detailed in everything that I do, being relentless, he talks about being 1-0, talking about being the best version of yourself. And I've learned so much from him over the last month and a half, 2 months that I've been here. My coaching style is this, I am demanding, I'm not demeaning, I'll never attack a player personally, okay? I'm more of a motivational guy. I'm also a teacher. I think it's important that sometimes you slow things down. I try to teach my guys, you have to walk, all right, before you run. So I'm big into making sure they understand, what we're trying to get done and the technique. And we always talk about effort with technique. We want to do things the right way with technique and fundamentals. So it's important that I think it's good to bring the energy, but sometimes you have to slow things down and just talk about what you're doing, and so they have an understanding. Because it's easy to just go out there and everything just go fast. But you want to make sure you're doing things the right way and be detailed in your teaching and your technique and fundamentals. But for me, man, I'll get out there and I'll run with my guys. I don't know if many guys have been to practice, but I'll take off and sprint. Now, I might be paying for that the next day. I ran gases with the guys right after practice yesterday as well. So I'll get out. Now, I won't do it every day. I'm not saying that, but every once in a while you'll see me running down the field, man, and I'm just trying to get guys to be the best version of themselves and challenge themselves every day. And, especially up front of the defensive line, you got to always run to the ball. You got to have relentless pursuit. And so that's kind of my coaching style. And I talk to the guys about being in the NFL, what did I look for as an NFL coach? And I think that's gone a long ways. That's been to my advantage. These guys know I've been an NFL coach. What are you looking for? Well, here's the things that I'm looking for and the things that I see, from an NFL perspective. And so I think the guys have, really listened to me and bought into that. And I've seen changes in their attitudes and how they approach their business about, being a pro. We talk a lot of times about guys being pro, but these are kids that don't know how to be pros yet. I've been there, and so I'm just trying to pass on the knowledge and things that I have. But I'm the same way. I'm not. I'm demanding, but I'm not demeaning as well. And I think that Coach Harsin made that very clear about what he's looking for in a staff when he put this staff together. So, I would say that every coach, on this coaching staff is the same way, demanding, not demeaning.
Okay, we'll go to Tom Green.
Hey Nick, Tom Green with AL.com. You kind of just touched on how you are at practice, but from what we've seen, the couple practices we've been out there, Bernard Watts seems like a real high energy guy. What have you seen from him so far working with him, and how would you kind of describe him?
Yes, Coach Watts, I thought I was going to be the guy with the most energy, but he's usually running next to me or past beyond me. One thing about Coach Watts, man, he's our special teams coordinator, and that same energy you see outside, he's like that throughout the day. It won't, there's no surprise if you walk through our hallways. You'll see me and him wrestling sometimes or doing pass rush moves on each other. His office is right next to mine, but I've really loved working with him. He brings a lot of energy to the table. He's consistent with who he is in the meetings and on the field. And, he's also, the kids love him. The edge backers love him. Defensive line love him. Everybody that works with him loves him. And he's so detailed in his work in terms of being prepared for meetings, just how he is at practice with his drill work, et cetera. And so he's another guy that I've learned a lot from as well, in terms of my teaching progressions, et cetera. And, he comes over to my office. I go over to his. We talk about a lot of things, run past things past each other. There are days where our groups get together, because, the edge guys, will be working with me as well in terms of the pass rush and when we get in third down situations. But Coach Watts is awesome. And he is a high energy guy. You're exactly right. And he's been consistent bringing that to the table every day. He's one of those guys that's at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's one of the 5 o'clock in the morning workout coaches like myself. He's in there usually before everybody, takes very good care of himself and does things the right way, even from a nutritional standpoint. As you see, I carry a little bit more love handle than he does, so I'm getting to where he is so I can have more energy as well, but he's been great.
Okay, we've got time for two more. We'll go to Nathan King.
Hey Nick, Tyrone Truesdell was the guy who decided to come back and take that extra year of eligibility from the NCAA. How much obviously you weren't here last year, how much do you think that means for this defensive line to have a senior leader like him? And how well is he kind of transitioning with more of a traditional nose tackle position in the 3-4?
I think it's great that he came back. We've dealt with some, injuries and things on the defensive line, and having him here and having his leadership, he's kind of the silent leader. He's not he's not a vocal guy, but he just shows up and works. And that's one thing that I admire about him. He's very strong at the point of attack. I think he's probably in the top, on our team in terms of squat. He's squatting almost 700 pounds. And so to have a guy like that in the middle of the defense that can hold the point, that can hold up blockers, our linebackers will be really happy and excited, to have him in there and have him back here. He's played obviously against some very high talent, here in the SEC, one of the best conferences, in the world. And so I'm excited. He's doing better every day. I've given him some goals for himself to achieve that, and he's working to do that. And so, he's great to have in the room, from a leadership perspective, just like you talked about. And just having him back and the decision that he made to come back it's huge for our team. And he's a great leader. Not a man of many words, but he leads by example.
And we'll finish up with Philip Marshall.
Hey Nick, Auburn has had a lot of good defensive linemen over the years, Tracy and Derek Brown and all those guys.
Yep.
Were you aware of that, I guess, in the NFL? And a kind of unrelated question, being from South Georgia, were you recruited by Auburn?
Yes, I was recruited and offered by Auburn actually to play tight end, not defensive line. Let's see. I don't remember the coach's name, but it'll come to me if you call me later. I might remember. But yeah, Auburn has always had a great tradition. I played against the Keogh Spikes in high school. I coached Carl Lawson in Cincinnati the last couple of years, so I've got to know him. I came here last year and got to know Derek Brown and Marlon Davison. I coached Angelo Blackston, drafted him when I was at the Tennessee Titans. Gabe Wright, I've crossed paths with him as well. So it's a tradition, especially on the defensive line, here at Auburn, and it's going to continue to be that way. Like I said, it starts up front, and the history in terms of great defensive lines here at Auburn dates back many, many years before, I ever came along. So we want to continue that tradition here and continue to be the best and continue to put out, get guys to, graduate and be better men and have an opportunity to play in the NFL. Yes, sir.
Coach, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We'll reset, and Jeff Schmedding will be our next